You.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's time for the Kelly Show. Kelly is an award-winning photographer and the owner of the website iloveclearwater.com. Doug is the author of 4 published books and a contributing editor for Florida Sportsman magazine. And now, here they are.
Yes, sir, we are. You know, I hate starting off a radio show about the weather. So what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to talk about the weather. Instead, I'm going to talk about how close the University of South Florida came to beating the Hurricanes on their game. They really put up a good fight. I think at one point they were leading, and then even at the halftime it was undecided, and then the bottom fell out for the Bulls, and the Canes ended up sweeping them. But that was pretty good showing on their part. That shows that they can hang with a good team, and they gave Alabama trouble, right, Ed?
Yeah, they did. I want you to know that the Bulls were so close in the first half. I had your number warmed up on speed dial because if they'd have beat your
lovely team.
Hurricanes, I would have definitely called you right away.
You would have been very gentlemanly, I'm sure.
Well, I would have called you and asked you what the score was.
I do that to my son because he went to FSU, got his master's there anyway. And if Miami wins, I call him and said, "Oh man, I fell asleep. Didn't see what happened. How'd the game turn out?" He says something to me that's not Merry Christmas. So I know what you're talking about. It's goading somebody. But it all fell apart in the second half.
Yeah, it was good for the area though. It was a nice crowd size there.
Absolutely. And Florida State, I think they won their game. So
I didn't.
I'm not close to that either. I've just noticed what a few of them were. Well, what about the Bucks?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the players and even the coaches were reading some of the articles around the country about the Bucks being the third best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then they figured, well, yeah, here comes Denver. They haven't won a game. We could let's hold out some players and get them nice and healthy. We don't need them.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
I think they got caught looking the other way.
They definitely did. They were looking at their press releases a little too closely and barely could get their head through the door, after a while about how good they were. And it's true, that old adage about any team on any given Sunday can beat another team. There's no doubt about it. But we went out of town. We went up to Ocala and went to Silver Springs, which Kelly hadn't been to in like 20-something years. Mm-hmm. And naturally, it was hot as hell. That's the only negative thing. But we took our dog with us, stayed in a rental condo, and she came along with us, stuck her head out the window all the way up, all the way back. And
may I speak about that trip?
No, I say it's not your turn yet. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
I received early birthday presents. Mm-hmm. I received free driving lessons
from me
all the way up to Ocala and all the way back.
That's right. That's true. I'm facing a lot of health issues right now, but none of them are as harrowing as sitting in the passenger seat while Kelly drives.
This is not true.
Yes, it is true. It's scary.
You're making me out to be a bad driver, and I'm not. I stay in the middle of the middle lane on cruise control, and I don't vary the speed or the position, and yet somehow, whatever I do, invokes shrieking.
Well, now,
overruled.
What do you lock the cruise control in?
At the speed limit. I drive at maybe 2 over. Maybe.
You need to be in the right lane.
That's right. Correct. Because that's where you're in.
Because the right lane is the speed limit or lower.
Yeah. Exactly.
And what if you have 4 lanes or 3 lanes?
And I noticed that this weekend, a lot of the left lanes were clogged up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On the roads.
Yeah.
And I got a closer look. There were a lot of Canadian plates out there already.
Okay. Gotcha. Already.
My goal is one day in life, I'm going to move to Canada for about a week. I'm going to drive slow in the left lane with my left blinker on all day.
Unbelievable. Well, anyway, we did manage to survive.
And what about what happened this past week?
Oh, gee, nothing.
Seriously.
Oh, you mean the University of Miami football game?
No.
Oh, Oh, you turning 60?
I did.
Ah, okay. I understand.
Thank you. Happy birthday to myself since nobody else cares.
Oh my gosh, I've given her cash, food. She got a full body massage.
That's right.
Well, you said the trip was a birthday present, right?
That's true.
Right, sure. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's nice to jump out of town. Did her a short while.
Yeah.
It's nice to get back to and all. So.
And what were you doing up there?
Well, I was trying to sell some books. My Mafia book, which is the 5th one I've written.
Yeah.
4th or 5th. Anyway.
You did a presentation.
The whole place was packed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as I'm looking out giving my speech and lecture about the mafia in Florida, all I could see were Q-tips on the heads of everybody out there. And I figured,
a sea of Q-tips.
A sea of Q-tips. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are these retirees living on Social Security going to come in and buy this book? And the answer is not many of them did.
They all got up and stampeded out afterwards.
Just about.
Not all of them, but
if it's not free or discounted by 90%, they're not interested.
This is true.
Anyway.
They'll get it free at the library, right? Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, well, might as well. And everybody else knows it too.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, we have an interesting guest today, and he's a fellow who's been in the tackle industry, and we're going to chat with him about it because a lot of people are fishing, and also some to eat, some for action and sports, or some for get outside and enjoy boating or fishing from the pier or the side of the beach or the road or whatever. So
I bet you both have some real cool fishing stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of them true. I did radio when I lived in the Keys, Ed, and we did a show where we actually took the recorder out on the water with us and recorded live action that was taped, and then come back and we would play it. And one time I was attending some function, and a woman came up to me and sort of tugged on my sleeve and said, are you Doug Kelly? I said, yeah. She said, I've listened to a lot of your radio shows, I said, oh, that's nice. What do you think? She said, do you ever catch any small fish? Well, that put me in my place. What can you do?
Said, no, I always let those go. Let those go.
That's right. I don't waste my talent on small fish like that. That's for sure. But anyway, we are still going to extend our situation, and we're going to do a book. Our next book is going to be something related to my father. He was a World War II fighter pilot. He flew
B-52s?
No, he didn't fly B-52s.
Well, I don't know.
He flew Mustang 51.
Okay. He flew planes.
Yeah, but anyway, he'd go out on missions and would just strafe trains and buildings and anything that looked military. He would go out.
But he was also a prisoner of war in a German POW.
He got shot down from ground fire, and a Dutch boy hit him out in a culvert. And he hid out for 6 months until he got into the escape line in Germany, in France, actually. And he wrote a book about it, and he's no longer with us, but it was kind of a neat thing. So I'm going to take his book that he wrote and never got published.
It was so horribly written. That's why. Well, and you're going to polish it up, and you're going to. It's going to be a cool book.
It's a great story. It really is, talking about the men who would volunteer even to go on strafing runs and bombing runs and everything else.
It'd be great right now? An ad, right?
You think so?
I think an ad would be great.
You think an ad would be great? Okay. Yeah. Well, you're not very patriotic, because I was about to sing Over There.
Oh,
over there, over there. Da, 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 da. Please beware, for the Yanks are coming.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Perenick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Perinick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Just about everyone is fascinated by the mafia. Books and movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, and many others became bestsellers and box office hits. Did you know that a century ago, mobsters like Al Capone discovered Florida's tropical climate and sparse law enforcement? Mafia bosses from around the nation began setting up illegal operations in Florida. Now, for the first time, a new book titled Sunshine State Mafia, A History of Florida's Mobsters, Hitmen, and Wise Guys, provides vivid stories and never-before-seen images of dangerous criminals who settled in Florida full or part-time. Written by renowned author Doug Kelly, Sunshine State Mafia exposes the hidden history of the mob throughout the state and includes Doug's own brushes with crime figures. Sunshine State Mafia is available at all major book retailers, or obtain a signed copy by calling 727-724-4949 or email sunshinestatemafia@gmail.com.
What do the most successful companies have in common? They leverage growth by forming valuable relationships and partnerships. Amplify Clearwater puts you in touch with accomplished business and community leaders that inspires networking and helps you navigate the best courses of action for your company. Become a member and instantly acquire a powerful edge over your competitors by forming strong connections with top business leaders and elected officials. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision. Contact us at amplifyclearwater.com or call 727-461-0011. That's amplifyclearwater.com. 727-461-0011.
Discover Clearwater like never before with iloveclearwater.com. Whether you're a resident or a visitor, our website is your go-to source for all things Clearwater. Find the best hotels, restaurants, parks, shopping, and events all in one place. Dive into our engaging photos and videos. Explore over 500 informative articles. Visit iloveclearwater.com today and experience the best of Clearwater. iloveclearwater.com, your ultimate guide to Clearwater for fun, sun, and smiles.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Well, thank you for being with us. I'm Doug Kelly with my better 3/4 and a half. Kelly and Big Ed Davis handling the control room. He's also the executive producer of the Tan Talk Radio Network, and we can be heard on the 2 a.m. and 2 FM signals in the area. And also, the show is on Facebook Live on the Kelly Show page. And it's also podcast for posterity at radio. What is our podcast? Radio Pros.
InternetRadioPros.com.
Yeah, InternetRadioPros.com, and then just click on the link to the Kelly Kelly Show, and that way you can catch us even if the time right now isn't convenient for some people. But Kel, do we have Dave on the line, Ed? Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. We're ringing up a friend of ours who lives over near Orlando, and he's been in the tackle business for a long, long time. I've known him for over 30 years. Kelly, you've known him for over 20, right?
Yep. 21.
And he's become real successful. And a lot of people don't think much when they go fishing about the tackle itself, but in fact, it's a big industry.
Well, you can't really fish without it. I mean, you can fish with yarn, but
some people can get a branch.
How successful are you going to be?
Get a branch of a tree and cut off the little limbs and get some string and find a hook somewhere and put some shrimp out, and you can catch them, but you're not going to do as well as somebody with a rod and a reel and the fishing line and everything else that you got.
So Dave Burkhart, he's the owner and CEO of Trickfish. That's TRIKFISH. And of course, they have a website, trickfish.com. Dave, you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Good to hear you.
All right. Wonderful.
I didn't even have your cell number. So we had a little issue getting a hold of you.
And I called you back to make sure I had the number. So
right.
I'm a little spaced out these days. What can I say?
We got you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good.
Okay. Well, listen. We'll get into what Trickfish is all about. But first, where were you born and raised? Give us a little history of yourself.
I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And actually lived as a little kid growing up in the shadows of the Buckeye Horseshoe, the football stadium there.
Oh, really?
So, still a big Buckeye fan, but been in Florida 30 some years now.
Okay, well, that's also the old hometown of Jack Nicklaus. I think you and I have talked about that before. He's a huge fan also of the Ohio State Buckeyes. But so what got you interested? I mean, were you always a fisherman, or did your dad do it and you picked it up? What attracted you to that to begin with?
Yeah. Actually, my father fished, and we fished, and we grew up right on the Olentangy River, which runs right next to the Ohio State University, the stadium there. And when you watch the blimp shots from the Buckeyes plant, that river running right next to it, I caught, I don't know how many smallmouth bass, catfish, crappie, carp, everything grew up in that thing. And so that got me going, and just kept it on through college and so forth. And I've been really blessed to been able to be in an environment of something that I enjoy doing, as opposed to.
Well, you've been all over the world pretty much, haven't you?
Yeah, I think 5 continents fishing, and as far as I guess my favorite place is I know one of your favorite places too is Costa Rica, down at Crocodile Bay on the Pacific side.
Yeah, for
sure.
Go back again and again on that.
Beautiful lodge.
Beautiful.
And you go out there, and the bill fishing isn't that far of a run, and you can catch near the shoreline rooster fish.
Caught my first one there.
Yeah. And I tell you what, do you ever get lined up with a rooster fish, you'll know you have a battle on your hands. They are tough.
Tough.
That fish is on so many people's bucket list.
Yeah.
Doug, that to go down and catch one of those, they're exotic. If you've never seen one, Google it, look it up, whatever. But that's just inshore on light tackle, guys. It's a ball.
It sure is. If you put a largemouth bass tail to tail with a rooster fish, that poor bass would be in trouble. They'd drag him all across the Gulf of Mexico.
So, Dave, do you prefer inshore or offshore?
Yeah, I like both, but if I had to pick one, I would do the inshore, just from the light tackle and the more personal touch like that. You're casting into the rocks so it's just, but it's fun. Either one. I like either one. And, down there is, then you go offshore, you got the tuna and the marlin and, just any species you want. Terrific. And,
okay. Well, that brings up something too. It reminded me, just the other day, I was heading out the door at daybreak and I had my tackle box and my fishing rod in hand, and Kelly stopped me at the doorway. And she looked like she was mad. I said, "What's the matter?" She says, "Who do you love more, me or fishing?" And I thought for a moment, and I said, "Inshore or offshore?" And of course, that's going to cost me later. But,
and I'm still with him.
She's still with me.
Yep.
No doubt about it. So you're in Claremont, and for those who don't know the geography of Claremont, tell us where you are.
Claremont, we're just about 25 miles west of Orlando on Highway 50, which runs across the state from the Gulf to the Atlantic. And so we're right in the middle of the state, and we're in the beautiful rolling hills, the only hills in the peninsula of Florida. And I live on the Claremont chain, beautiful chain over here. So
you have a beautiful home. No doubt about it.
Is that where Trick Fish is located?
Yeah, Trickfish warehouse and offices and so forth. It's interesting though. In your area you're in, Trickfish has a old time affinity for the Clearwater, for the Tampa Bay area. That's where it actually started. Recognizing in the early '80s that saltwater fishermen always use leader on their lines, unlike freshwater guys do. They use leader. So that's where it came from. And we invented the wonderful self-dispensing leader dispenser for saltwater fishermen from 10-pound test to 400-pound test, which eliminates all of the tangled messes that most people relate to with leader material.
Bird's nest, so we call it. Yep.
Yeah, bird's nest. We got started over there with some guides and some top anglers, and it caught on again, going back to the early '80s, and to the retailers, and the brick and mortar stores, and so that's where we really got our heavy start over there. Then it just now we deal all internationally in the whole world. So a little company in Claremont, and so it's fun. I enjoy it. I'm blessed to be in it. But I would like to thank all of the people over the years from that your area, your listening area there, that have supported Trickfish so strongly, and I appreciate their help and support. And again, you go into virtually any tackle place over there, you're going to see Trickfish leaders and leader dispensers in both fluorocarbon and monofilament.
Right, and people should know, by the way, what leader is. That's where you have your regular fishing line.
That was my question. There's probably a lot of non-fishing people out there.
Right.
And what is, for instance, 400-pound test? What's that? What's a leader? And what could you catch on a 400-pound test?
Well, you can catch about anything you want to.
Oh well.
but you manage the pound test to the equipment you're using. If you're inshore fishing, like for sea trout and things like that, you would get down to maybe 10-pound test, 15-pound test. But at the end of that line on saltwater, because so many of the saltwater fish are toothy critters, you tie on a heavier line so that they can't bite through it as easily. I guess that's as basic as I could tell you what a leader does.
That's perfect, yeah.
And also prevents when they sometimes are caught near pilings or rocks where they can cut the line off if it was regular test, like the running line. But with the leader, it's less likely you're going to get break-offs because of bottom structures.
Yes, and the heavier pound test in your leader, that's why exactly, Doug, that's exactly why you use it. And like I say, it's just virtually universally used for the saltwater anglers. And an interesting, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say an interesting aspect, though. We're seeing a huge upsurge in freshwater anglers now. Let me tell you the reason why. Using leaders, they're using braided line. The new super strength line, and but it's very visible to the fish. So they'll take and tie on 2 or 3 feet of leader for bass fishing, even to put throw their lures on to throw and fish with like that, because it makes it much more stealthy. So we are seeing a really good growth in the freshwater people using leaders also.
Okay, well, what is fishing line made of?
Well, it can be made of three basic things. It can be made of monofilament, which is a plastic, and it can be made of fluorocarbon, which is the very sophisticated material that has an asset in it that it's nearly invisible in the water. It has virtual the light structures of water, so that when it goes into the water, it virtually disappears. So for your leader shy fish, it works very well. And then the third type of fishing line is your braided. It's if you can imagine just old time nylon looking, but now it's much more sophisticated with the new plastics that they're using, and they're super strong and very durable. So you have those three.
Now you do have a difference in how the line stretches, and sometimes that can be very good. It gives you a little bit of a degree of safety if a big fish like a marlin makes a quick run. If you had a line that didn't have any stretch, they could really snap the line. Tarpon have been known to do that if you don't bow your rod to them when they jump up in the air. And then on other fish, a lighter tackle, what have you, you probably don't want too much stretch. Yeah, is that your definition too?
Yeah, but even a bass with if there's no stretch, it's got to be forgiving that
right.
A bass could break it, or you would if there's no stretch. When the bass would pull so hard, he could pull the hook out,
right?
Because there's no stretch. And as you use the right term, forgiving, you want the line to be forgiving to how you're utilizing it.
Gotcha.
So going back to the previous question, because I'm learning some stuff here.
Okay.
How do you decide what fishing line to use?
Well, it's in freshwater, it relates to the size of the fish you're fishing for. Bass, gosh, a 5-pound bass is a nice bass, but you wouldn't, and then also how you're using it. Are you casting into real tough stuff? Then you might go up to even a 25-pound test line for a lot of the bass fishermen do when they're, pitching for reeds and so forth, as opposed to if you're just crappie fishing around clean, there's no structure around to wrap your line around, then you can go down to a 6, 8, or 10-pound test. That's freshwater. Saltwater, it's relative to the fish and to the how hard he's going to pull. If you got a 50-pound tuna, I mean, gosh, that's just a live throbbing muscle. I mean, that's you need the strength. In the same way in bottom jerking for grouper, snapper, and that you need to get that fish away from the bottom, as quickly as you can, so he doesn't get you in the rocks. So you have heavier rod, heavier reel, and then you would have, of course, heavier line. So it's relative to your rod and reel as a balanced unit for the pound test you're using.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah,
it does. So you just don't drop your line and hope to catch whatever. You are targeting a fish.
Yes, you're targeting.
Species.
Yeah. What? Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
interesting.
That's really one of the great keys to being just a fisherman or a really good angler. If your rod is a proper type of rod for what you're going after, so they can be 7 feet long, they can be 5 feet long.
Okay.
The rods themselves can be stout, or they can be real.
So can the fishermen.
And so can the fishermen. That's right. And then, of course, you have your your fishing line, which obviously attaches the rod and the reel to whatever you're casting, whether it's bait or a lure.
See,
And that's the thing you
thought
match.
the lures were the ones that targeted the species.
Yeah.
I never knew this about line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's what you try to do. You try to think like a fish, just like Dave does. And when you match your gear to the fish you're playing, it's more sporting for you. It still gives the fish a chance to get away, because if you're using a 100-pound test and you're out trout fishing, that's not really a fair match.
Yeah.
So you want to have a lighter tackle for them, and then if you go off, like Dave said, for tuna or marlin or some of those fish, then you get up the heavier tackle, the bigger, thicker rods, and the reels. It can take more pressure, because when that line's streaming out, man, I tell you, it can be so fast and furious. You touch it, it'll put a blister on your finger.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Yes, it will. So anyway,
Dave, what is your favorite fish for you to catch in either fresh or salt water?
Well, freshwater, I grew up fishing for bass, like I said, and in the river fishing up in the Midwest, and smallmouth. That's a lot of fun. And Florida, of course, is largemouth. Now it's called the Florida bass. They've changed the name. It's a Florida bass now. And then again, in the saltwater like that, I really enjoy snook fishing. And Doug knows. I think he's probably leaning in that corner, in that direction too, as far as inshore fishing.
Yeah, it is.
And
that's because they jump, and they're strong, and they're a tough opponent. What do you estimate is the largest snook you've ever caught? Just a guess.
It was 35 inches long, so I don't know. I released it. What would that be, Doug? You'd have a better guess at that than I would.
Probably a good mid-teen fish, wouldn't you think? 15, 18 pounds?
Yep.
Something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
The problem with this discussion, Dave, is I've never caught a snook that small. So
I was waiting for that.
It's hard. It's very difficult for me to relate to your style of fishing. You understand? So, at any rate, snook fishing is a joy, and I would put the same thing that you do. That it's a tremendous sport fish, and of course they're delicious to eat. Unfortunate to them. Then, what about on the flats themselves? Do you ever do much with bonefish or?
Yeah, bonefish. Yeah, and the permit. The bonefish are fun like that, but the permit, what a strong fish, and those are two. Again, there's just in the saltwater, you just have such a variety on it. It's awful hard to just pick one or the other like that. I mean,
it is, it really is. That's one of the great joys of fishing, is that you never know exactly. You may go after snook and you end up catching redfish, or you may be out going for a sailfish and a big tuna nails your bait or your lure.
What's a fish that you can catch that you don't have to work too hard? What fish is that?
Well, that's my specialty. See, I can't get a nibble in a school of grunts, so it's hard for me to say. But how would you answer Kelly's question?
No, I'd say in freshwater, probably crappie and bluegill. They're just easy, great for kids fishing, teaching, learning, and like that. And I enjoy them. Plus, I enjoy eating them too. Man. They're delicious.
Yeah.
On the thing.
Well, as I grow older, I find that I want to put less muscle into things.
Yeah, that's true. Offshore can be tough on the body. There's no doubt. You get you get those 6-foot rollers out there and a lot of spray. Sunshine and the sun bearing down on you. You gotta have pretty good consistency to take that sometimes. And
I think if you've never tried it, it's fun.
Oh,
it's fun.
It is.
Yeah.
You get attached to a blue marlin or something. It's not many things like it. That's for sure.
No, that's rare.
And inshore too, for that matter.
Yeah.
One thing you mentioned to me when we talked earlier that's really important, and a lot of people maybe overlook it, and that's abrasions. Just tell us what that does to a fishing line.
Okay, it's very important that anglers call it retying, and in the last 18 inches of your line, typically fishing gets the most abuse, because that's where, if you've caught a fish, he's got you around or by some structure, whether it's rock or tree limbs or anything, and they get these little nicks in them like that, and that's death to your line eventually. So you want to retie frequently, and that's in the case of the leader, like on our leader, you would just replace the leader, and you could make it leader. You can cut it up from where the scratches are. Any way you look at it, or where those nicks, because those nicks, it's like a crack in a glass, to use as an example.
Right.
It's going to break there. That's where that's your weakest point, and you want to get away from that. So you need to run your fingers right down the line, and you'll notice right as you get closer to the hook like that, you can feel it with your fingers. So occasionally you want to retie, and if you've had a couple nice fish on there, protect yourself, cut off, retie your hook up higher, and then that way you've eliminated your a big opportunity for failure on your line.
I got you. Listen, stay with us here, Dave. We're going to come back in a minute. We're going to take a short station break here to some of our sponsors who graciously support our program. So we'll be back with a little more about fishing, and also some other fun things we're going to do. We're going to put you to a fun quiz a little bit later too, Dave. So brace yourself. Anyway, we'll be back. We'll be back right after these few messages.
Okay, very good.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident, or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Just about everyone is fascinated by the mafia. Books and movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, and many others became bestsellers and box office hits. Did you know that a century ago, mobsters like Al Capone discovered Florida's tropical climate and sparse law enforcement? Mafia bosses from around the nation began setting up illegal operations in Florida. Now, for the first time, a new book titled Sunshine State Mafia, A History of Florida's Mobsters, Hitmen, and Wise Guys, provides vivid stories and never-before-seen images of dangerous criminals who settled in Florida full, or part-time. Written by renowned author Doug Kelly, Sunshine State Mafia exposes the hidden history of the mob throughout the state and includes Doug's own brushes with crime figures. Sunshine State Mafia is available at all major book retailers, or obtain a signed copy by calling 727-724-4949 or email sunshinestatemafia@gmail.com.
What do the most successful companies have in common? They leverage growth by forming valuable relationships and partnerships. Amplify Clearwater puts you in touch with accomplished business and community leaders that inspires networking and helps you navigate the best courses of action for your company. Become a member and instantly acquire a powerful edge over your competitors by forming strong connections with top business leaders and elected officials. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision. Contact us at amplifyclearwater.com or call 727-461-0011. That's amplifyclearwater.com. 727-461-0011.
Discover Clearwater like never before with iloveclearwater.com. Whether you're a resident or a visitor, our website is your go-to source for all things Clearwater. Find the best hotels, restaurants, parks, shopping, and events all in one place. Dive into our engaging photos and videos. Explore over 500 informative articles. Visit iloveclearwater.com today and experience the best of Clearwater. iloveclearwater.com, your ultimate guide to Clearwater for fun, sun, and smiles.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to the Kelly Kelly Show. I'm Kelly Kelly. I'm here with Doug Kelly, and we are talking to Dave Burkhart. He is the owner and CEO of Trick Fish. That's TRIK Fish. And you can find Trick Fish line at trickfish.com. Right, Dave?
Right. Sure can. And most of your retailers over there, too.
Right.
Okay.
Mention some of those retailers.
Yes.
Well, you've got virtually, if I would miss one, I would get in trouble.
I see.
I would just thank all my friends, longtime friends, and retailers over there that have captains and guides that have supported Trickfish again since the concept inception of it in the early '80s.
Yes,
and that's a genuine thank you for letting me participate in an industry that's been so much fun, and so I'm just blessed to be able to say that.
That was very politically correct.
That is.
Yeah.
This ad has been paid for by Dave Burkhart. No, but you know what? Besides the tackle shops, of course, that carry it here on the West Coast, it's also, I think, in Dick's Sporting Goods and Walmart the last time I looked. So you've got some big box outlets as well as the more personal.
A lot of the independent tackle stores again that carry good stocking of it and always maintain it, and so that's a good thing. And one other thing though, talking about politically, I did want to mention that make sure all you anglers out there, and I know most of you do, but just a reminder. Always recycle your fishing line. It's highly recyclable. Don't leave it out for wildlife to get entangled or whatever like that. And
very good.
We've made great strides in that over the years, and it's not nearly the problem that it once was. So thank you all.
You put it in the recycle bin? Is that how you recycle it? Or
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just put it in any recycle bin. It's highly recyclable.
Right. You don't throw it in the water. That's for darn sure.
No.
Absolutely.
Not at all. Okay. So how do you decide what line color affect game fish?
Okay, well, it's just up to the individual to a great extent. I like clear because it takes on whatever it seems to disappear more, and then you can go to the next step, and it's more expensive, but it's really stealthy is the fluorocarbon line. That's the one I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will use a bright color when they're throwing top waters and things that they want to see. They'll throw a bright, vivid green or chartreuse, or where they can watch the bait because they're working it back, looking like a wounded frog or something in fresh water and a wounded minnow in salt water. So they use that. That's where you see all these bright colors. But anything under the surface, you want to make it as stealthy as possible.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can use dark. If you're in cloudy water, you can use dark. Use the green, the dark green, or the browns, or whatever like that. And,
Doug is really stealthy too.
That's right.
He'll sneak up on me and just,
Yeah.
Well, let's stop there.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
Good one.
That's right.
Okay.
We'll leave the rest of the
He
imagination.
scares me sometimes. Oh my gosh. All right. Anyway.
All right. Well, one obviously when you buy some line, and by the way, line is not just line. There, and Dave is not one of our advertisers or whatever. We're friends, of course, but I can honestly say that his line, if you get trickfish line, you're not going to go wrong. If you go and buy the cheap stuff, don't be surprised if you get more break-offs and problems with it, and even spooling. You'll start getting a lot of knots in the spooling and whatnot. And that brings that up too. What is the best way, the most convenient way to spool the line onto the reel?
Well, it sounds simple enough. You've got to wind it onto your spool,
right,
as the same direction, the same way that it's coming off of the filler spool that you're removing the line from to put onto your reel. And that's the and the easy way. Let me tell you just a secret like that. Maybe help some people out there. After you got it lined up and you're starting to spool onto your reel, after you get about 5 turns or 6 turns on it, let some slack. Pull the filler spool up, and if you've got any twists in it, that tells you right there. Turn the spool over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, it's. But you have to be very careful on that. But it's not as confusing or convoluted. It's just one way or the other on it. So you've got a 50% chance on it. And anytime you start to see any twisting in it, turn the spool over the other way, or whoever's holding it, have them do that for you.
I've seen people using drills to put a line on a reel, and my dad, he used to just give me one end of the line off of the reel that he bought, and go down 100 yards, 150 yards, sort of keep it tight but not real tight, and then he just walks toward me and puts it on there so it's nice and snug. Because if the line's too loose, you're going to start getting knots in it and loops, and that can really mess you up.
Backlashes,
backlashes and things like that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So most people just use their forefinger and their thumb, and just keep tension on it as you're spooling it on. Just light tension is good too.
Gotcha.
Okay, real quick, because we got like 3 quick questions, and then I want to get to some fun stuff. So, real quick, can you share any remarkable catches made while using trickfish line?
We had the world record just I think 2 years ago. Striper fishing, which is so big in the Northeast up there. There's the big beautiful striper like that, and so that's it. We have other line class records. I had and I think it's still good, a catch and release 15 plus bass here in Florida.
Wow.
On that was
that's big.
But so we've got our share of that, but we just we're constantly reformulating and making sure all of our products are made they're German engineered, and it comes. We make stuff in Europe, as opposed, we don't do any of the Chinese stuff or any of that. It's too inconsistent,
Okay.
Well, anyway, I'll be nice now.
Okay. How many people do you employ, Dave?
Well, in our plant, we've got around 50 to 65, depending on the time of the year.
Wow.
And here in the States, with the reps and everything like that, we've got like 20, 25, 27 here in the States. So
very good.
So can you provide Trickfish's contact info?
Yeah, just you just go and Google Trickfish and it'll get you there.
Is there a reason it's spelled without a C? Trick, T-R-I-K.
Not really.
Okay. Okay.
We make it difficult for everybody. That's all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to read some fun questions.
Okay.
We got a lot to get in. So if you were to win the lottery, what's the first thing you would do?
I would go out and buy a brand new Corvette. That's what I would do.
Well, that was
Brand
my
new
second question. What's your favorite car of all time? So.
Well, I love those Corvettes.
Oh, okay.
I'd get a Z06 Corvette and bright yellow with black trim. I'm getting excited thinking about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference between you and me. I would donate it to a poor family.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, you would, Doug. Sure.
Okay.
Okay, what do you prefer, talking on the phone or texting?
Talking on the phone.
Okay, you're old school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm the same way.
Are you overly loyal to any fishing clothing brands, or don't you want to say?
I used to do some work, consulting and marketing work for Columbia over the years. So that's nice stuff.
It is nice stuff. Yeah.
But they need to catch up. They're lacking behind a little bit now.
Okay.
But it's still nice stuff. Yeah.
Okay. What reality show do you think you'd be the best fit for?
Cops.
Okay. Okay.
Well, that answers that one.
I would love to ride with those and see those things in life, in true life.
You don't mean being chased by cops. Okay, got it.
No.
There you go.
Okay, and let's see. What television commercial from growing up do you remember most? I know that was a long time ago.
Yes, it was. Oh, my stars. I'm trying to think. I don't think I had one, honestly.
Okay.
I don't think I had one.
Very on the spot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I've got a few here, just a couple of them.
You got 1 minute left, Doug.
Oh, here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Would you rather be able to speak any language that's spoken in the world, or be able to communicate with animals?
Speak any language. I would speak. Let me think. I would speak probably German. I would speak German. That would be my,
well, I mean, the choices, you can speak all the languages or animals.
No, I'd speak all the language.
Right,
okay. I'm sorry. I'm not a good listener.
Or you'd be able to communicate with animals, dogs, cats, horses, etc.
Communicate with people.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
Thanks, Dave.
It's that time. Thanks, Dave Burkhart, for being with us.
Hey, thank you, and thank all the folks over there in Clearwater.
Fantastic.
Bye-bye.
All right. And on behalf of Dave Burkhart, Kelly, thanks for listening. There it is.
Kelly Show on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
Listen.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm Cammie McCormick. President Biden will address the UN General Assembly in New York tomorrow as the violence escalates between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre.
The risk of escalation is real, and so we continue to believe a diplomatic resolution is both achievable and urgent.
Stefan Dujarric is a spokesman for the UN Secretary General.
He's very concerned about the large number of civilian casualties being reported by the Lebanese authorities, as well as the thousands of displaced persons amidst the most intense exchange of fire across the blue line.
Israel launched more than 1,000 strikes today. Prosecutors now say Ryan Ruth intended to kill President Trump. He's the suspect arrested at Trump's golf course in Florida. They say he left behind a note stating his objective. CBS Manuel Bojorquez reports.
The only charges right now against this suspect, Ryan Ruth, are federal gun charges for possessing a firearm as a convicted felon. What we learned today in court is that prosecutors will also seek to get a grand jury to indict him on an other heavier charge, really, which is the attempted assassination of a political figure.
He was denied bond and will remain behind bars. Violent crime continues to drop in this country. Matt Piper has the latest statistics.
Crime overall fell in the U.S. in 2023 compared to the year prior. That from FBI statistics showing it declined 3%, with murders and non-negligent manslaughter dropping about 12%. Rape, according to the report, also saw quite a drop at about 9.4%. The FBI's annual report is based on data submitted by law enforcement agencies around the country.
Violent crime spiked during the pandemic. New figures show fewer Americans are getting their vaccinations these days. Celine Gounder is an editor-at-large